All right. Well, Lucie, welcome to the Cat Chat podcast. I'm very happy to have you here to talk about your directing experience, your acting experience through your career.
I'm excited to talk to you as well.
Okay, before we dive into the Christmas movies, I would like to know a little bit about your background. What made you want to become an actor and become a director?
Well, I think it's just something that I've always thought I wanted to do when I was young. I liked doing theater and acting class. We moved around so much when I was a kid, and I think that was an area that I would make friends with quite easily. It was just a way to sort of, I guess, meet people and yeah, I think that's where it started. And I also really liked musical theater, and the community aspect of it was something that I really was drawn to. It felt like when you are always in a new school, all of a sudden you get transported into sort of like a theater family, if you will, new friends.
Was it something that you always wanted to do, or did you have other inspirations or other dreams growing up?
I didn't have any other aspirations. So, I mean, I think at one point when I was really young, I wanted to work with like animals in some way. I mean, I think it was wanted, yeah, I'm not even sure, when you try to pick what you want to be when you're really, really, really young. But it's something that I always said that I wanted to do even like age 5 and stuff. It's just, I think it was, I don't know why or where it came from, but it's something that I was kind of drawn to, I guess.
Okay, Santa Claus. I mean, I believe that one of the many hit movies of the 2024 Christmas. So, before you share your experience as the director with that movie, along working with the writers and working with the cast, I watched that movie 3 times. The first time I've seen that movie was actually the premiere of the movie at ChristmasCon with
Oh,
many, yeah,
awesome.
with many of my friends. And as soon as the movie was opening, it was very beautiful, and I liked how the angle and the Christmas lightning, like how the light was so dim. It was for me. It was like going back to my childhood with all the old-fashioned Christmas, with the old-fashioned light, old-fashioned decoration, and it reminded me of like Christmas with the family, the tradition, the memories, and carry everything as you get older and make your new memories, new tradition. I told Kimberly Toothad, oh, that this movie was absolutely beautiful. You and Ben, don't get me started on Paul Campbell. That's another story. About that movie was beautiful. It was just beautiful.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy that you enjoyed it and it brought all these childhood memories back to you. I mean, the visuals alone were so sort of you like you said, they had sort of a nostalgic uh element to them. So that was something that it's always nice. I like the deeper, rich tones. I always try to put I mean Ali was our production designer on that, and we talked about bringing in sort of like a deeper color palette, sort of deeper reds and deeper greens instead of the red, like the light orange red. And we had our location manager on that found this incredible place called I called it the Santa House, but it was a wooden house made by a really sweet Japanese couple that handmade everything in that house. So every detail of that house was like hand carved. The stairs, everything, the walls. So so it was very lucky that we found this incredible location. And then Ali, our production designer, was able to sort of yes and it and work within this like sort of deeper color palette tones that you're picking up on.
Yeah, it was just like watching it. I was just like, wow, okay. I like that movie already. It's not even like 30, 45 minutes in. It got the bathtub. Can we? But it was really good. I'm just curious about your directing experience. Like with all the different angles and the different scenes, like with the competition, with all of the dancers, and whoever wins, moved up or wins. That was funny. And there was some other deep moment too, when Kimberly Kate was trying to identify each dancer with their strength, their weakness, and how they all come together as one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it always starts with a good script. I'm lucky with this. I work with the producer, Alex, Michael, Ronnie, and Aiden. They have been, well, Alex, I think originally thought about this idea in like some sort of brainchild of Santa. You need to go back to Santa school. And so he talked about this idea of this movie for a while before I saw the script. And then Russell wrote it, and I read it, and I thought it was such a funny script, and so it really was lucky that I just started with such a solid foundation, and then I just feel like I was able to I just yes anded what was there and tried to enhance all the comedic beats and then to slow down the moments where there's a little bit more depth and emotion so that we can see sort of Kate's journey through coming to making this Santa school her own. And I think there's a hint at the end. I hope it hints to a sequel. I mean, at the end of the note, it'd be fun to see a Santa Claus too. But yeah, I think we had a very good DP as well, Justin, Sebastian, and some great camera operators on that movie, Max and Leela. And we kind of had a little bit of a synergy. Justin and I have done a few movies together now, and this one I think is very visually um, sort of yeah, it's visually very like traditional in the color palettes of Christmas, which I really like. It has a lot of richness to it. It's very cool in the look of the movie.
Yeah, yeah, that was a really nice, funny started hint at the end for the second movie. Hopefully, Paul Campbell and Andrew Walker will not fight over that war. That was
Yeah,
really for Andrew.
I know. He just said that. I mean, that's just letting the Paul be just Paul be Paul because he's very funny. Um, and uh, and we actually did a screening of this movie in LA and a little watch party on the day that got released. And I think the same day you had your Santa Claus premiere at Christmas Con. And it was so fun to hear the laughs. You know, it was just nice to see the reactions of people watching the movie. And that line got a huge laugh. So, you know, obviously it's very inside baseball, but a lot of people who know who Andrew Walker is, so it worked.
For sure, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
the way the movie was, and I would watch my friend's reaction along with some other people. And at the end of the movie, I was like, okay, there's going to be another Santa Claus next year starring Andrew Walker.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
For sure. Um, what was your vision? What was your philosophy in general as the director for any kind of movie? It could be the Santa Claus, Christmas Under the Light, or Jingle Bell Run. what is your vision? What was the main goal of trying to direct this movie along to become a professional movie?
I think that each movie has its own. I always like dig into something different for each one and try to find the mountain for each one. And with Jingle Bell Run, it was about I the idea was to keep it feeling uh like they're constantly going to a new city and there's so much going on, like lots of moving pieces, and just really wanting to captivate their banter and seeing this reluctant partnership come together. And that movie, there's always a few scenes that I really like to like sink my teeth in. I really love the barn dance, and for me that just slowing it right down. I think when he dips her, it's that just like that slow romantic dip. That to me was like capturing those like romantic pieces within the games. And I wanted, especially the finale of the game, the idea for that movie was to capture that when she gets the silver bells in slow mo, just to capture that feeling of like accomplishment. So just have that feeling of like, I felt like when I was watching that moment, I was like, that's how I feel after after we all felt that after like every day we're at a new location, which is it's a big ask when you're, you have specific means within 15 days. And so it was just such a nice achievement that she kind of believed in herself, and just having that moment of victory and just that last crossword puzzle thing. I definitely wanted to build sort of like that tension and being able to see it visually, to hear two people competing against each other. One team's whispering where they are and you're hearing the other team and seeing the other team, like that whole element of competition, right to the finale. There is kind of those moments or things that I thought we could focus on and sort of bring to light for that movie. And then for Christmas Under the Lights, it was more of a sort of simpler, slower down, like a slower burn kind of, in that, like, I think the thing that struck me when I read it was the relationship between her and her mom, and the just seeing the kind of that, like, getting over that like guilt of not being around as much as you wish you could have been, and then it's too late kind of thing, and just like that theme, wanting to showcase that theme a little bit. And then with Santa Claus, the pièce de résistance, um, it was more about kind of I felt like it had elements of an older Christmas movie, in that there was this idea of magic and kind of belief a little bit. And it was definitely surreal, with that you had to buy into this premise of Santa crashing his sleigh and then having to relearn how to be Santa by going to Santa school. Um, with that movie, it was about threading that like a little bit of like childlike wonder throughout it, and really wanted to make it entertaining, like really wanted to bring out the comedy as much as, like, that is like my ultimate love, I guess, is all types of comedy. But just the fact that we could lean into more of a comedic movie was something that I was very excited about. So the idea and the goal with that movie is to just yes and the jokes, make sure that we're editing it and filming it in a way that the jokes land, and then having elements of that magic throughout it, and so that we can sink into the romance within everything that's happening in that movie. There's a lot going on in that movie. So those are I would say, like, the the goals for each movie changes based on the script and what to accomplish with each one. They're all different, I think.
Yeah. What were some of the challenges directing the movie or as the director itself?
Um, some of the challenges I think are, well, there's the everyday challenges, which I actually find it, part of, I guess, maybe secretly why I like it is just every day is so different and so unpredictable. And things that you prep for, no matter how much you prep for something, some sort of element of surprise or some sort of fire will take place where you have to pivot and throw away everything that you planned and kind of go with what you're being given in that day. So sometimes some of the challenges are weather, like we had that big obstacle course that you saw that you were talking about, the race, um, was at a camp on the Sunshine Coast. So we had to move our entire unit to the Sunshine Coast just for that sort of the few of those camp element days, which is a big move for a small little movie. And then it rained a lot and it rained very heavily on our obstacle course day. And it's a kind of a trek to get to this forest obstacle course. And it was just like it was raining and raining, and the path to get to the course was just like mud. Like it was we were walking through mud. Like some people were slipping in the mud, and it was just there was just like a washroom was a 10-minute walk away. Any shelter that we had for rain cover, you'd have to walk to around the corner because otherwise it'd be on camera. So that location was specifically challenging because of the rain caused such a mud path, like a mud road to get to. So the Santa suits, like one Santa fell in the mud, his Santa suit was like just covered in mud. It was just one of those things that happened. And a fun fact, I'm just gonna spill all our tea, is that the Santa suits that day, the night before, were taken to get dry cleaned. And something happened, and the Santa suits came back pink. And so they had to, and because we were on this like not on the mainland, we had to sort of like helicopter or heli jet in these Santa suits. So we were so behind, and like it was just one of those days where you just make it work, and it all worked out. And Paul and Kimberly and Ben and all of our genius comedic Santas were just so game for being wet and standing in the rain during these scenes, and they didn't go back to their trailers. They just like really fucked it up, and I don't think we would have made it through the day if they weren't such troopers.
Wow, that's amazing. I love hearing the behind the scenes story or any kind of tea that happened with each movie, whether it's a challenge or a funny moment that became a brilliant moment or a brilliant part of the movie that you did not expect to happen. So that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it is fun because I think that, you know, sometimes these like limitations and or accidents, like there's so many examples where something happens and it's a big mistake, sometimes end up being like my favorite scene in the movie. For whatever reason, something happened and we lose a location or something, and then we last minute wing it and it just becomes better than you could have planned. So I think, and sometimes that's not the case. Then you sit in the editing room and you're like, well, like, I'm glad we got through that day. But I mean, most of the times, the limitations just push your creativity, and you're so lucky because you work like I work with such a talented group of people around me. So um, they really can handle any sort of like curveballs or challenges coming our way. We can all just pivot and yeah. I mean, also on the Santa class, the we had our last day of that movie. We had to shoot in a mall. We were shooting in a mall. We lost the mall that we wanted to shoot at, so it was a last minute mall change, and it was very far, and there was some sort of construction on the highway and some sort of thing. So it took some people 2.5 hours to get there, and it was a night shoot. Um, so these kids had a curfew. Obviously, don't want to keep kids up too late. So we had to shoot out all their pieces first, and then go backwards, and then shoot all the adult pieces. And then and we were already like quite late starting just because of the nature of everyone being so stuck in this weird traffic thing that happened. But yeah, that by the end we got by the end of that day, or that morning, like the sun was coming up and everyone was just like zombies. It was the end of the shoot. So it was already our last day and a night shoot, and it was very far away. So that was another, like, you can't tell because they're such troopers, but that was a part of the movie that was like hang on by a thread in trying to like get all the elements you can within like a limited amount of time. But fun. I mean, exciting because you're getting creative, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I tell everybody who comes on my podcast that I'm just very in awe and amazed at how much everybody, the village, literally takes to make a movie in, I don't know, 12 to 15 days. I'm watching the movie, I'm like, that was done in 12 to 15 days. Oh my God. I just couldn't imagine how much work and how much everybody comes together and just go with the shoot the movie, shoot the scene, whether the daytime scene or nighttime scene or it was during Christmas time or summertime, because I know most of the movies are shooted in the summer. Give or take, a few Christmas movies are shot during Christmas time. A few of them, so I'm just amazed how they pulled it all off, especially with the location or the weather.
Yeah, I it definitely, when you're making these movies in 12 to 15 days, like you said, there's a lot of I'm also amazed when I see some of these movies at what everyone's accomplishing within the short amount of time.
Definitely. Uh, you do have a preference to be in front of the camera as the actress or behind the camera as the director?
Um, I guess I think it depends on I think it depends on the project, and the role. Um, I recently had a situation where it was an either or, and like both the things came at the same time. And I did go in the direction of directing, but I think the directing was, I just like being part of a project for the beginning, middle, and end. And it's just the challenge of it is I don't know, I guess there's a part of me that with depends on the acting role, obviously. But with directing, yeah, it's just really nice to take it from the script form and live with it until the edit is done. And there's something about that like all encompassing thing that I find very challenging and kind of, yeah, something about it that I really like. I can't quite pinpoint it really, and I don't I like I keep saying like I don't think I've retired the acting thing yet, but I definitely am enjoying uh the directing very much. And I also like the writing aspect of things as well. There's something with directing and writing where you have you can have a creative expression even though you're not acting. And sometimes I feel like you can have more creative expression, and it's like can feel more satisfying in a way because um uh yeah, because you're a part of this the whole thing versus acting, depending on the character and depending on the thing. If it's it depends, like, sometimes comedic stuff, it's really exciting because you can have a lot more freedom. um you can kind of yes and the dialogue and throw in buttons, and you feel like you can kind of play with it a little bit more here and there. So there are acting jobs that can feel super satisfying in that way, but you are there myopically through your character and delivering that specific thing. Um, Whereas like directing, you're you are a part of everything. It's kind of nice because you're part of all the characters. You get to interact. You kind of, yeah, it's part of the story, the characters, the tone, the look, the feel, the music, the sound design. Like that's so important, and especially in Santa Claus. So I like all of the elements, and I kind of miss it sometimes when I'm acting because I feel like you go in and you're collaborating with great people, if you're lucky. And you come in and you deliver your bit, but you're not always part of like other areas, which I think are exciting. If that makes sense. I like to ramble. I'm so sorry. That answer was probably 45 minutes long.
Happening, yeah. The actor, the actor, both, or like you said, it just depends on the project, it depends on the feeling. And regardless, you love doing both of them. It's just like what you feel like doing. You like, oh, I want to be part of the, oh no, I want to be part of making that,
Yeah.
showing that, the rope. Yeah.
Hmm. That's exactly it. But yeah, still satisfying. I mean, both are very like lucky to be doing both. So I feel, it depends, project dependent.
I would ask it, and some of them would say I don't have a paper. I enjoy it, but it's not like a paper project or memorable project that you enjoy working on, or possibility of paper location of a movie that you directed or worked on.
Hmm. Um, I know it is hard to answer because each project has elements that are so satisfying. And
Yeah,
I mean, I really enjoyed doing sort of the outside the box sort of Christmas movies this year. I loved the Santa Claus because it was the permission to dive into more of a comedy. And that was very rewarding and exciting. And then same thing with 12 Clues, or it's called Jingle Bell Run, sorry. It was also super fun. A few years ago, I did another project called Sealed with a List. There's something about that movie that, like, I guess because it took place in a city, the whole movie, that I really liked, and I really
yeah.
liked Evan and Katie in it. And there's something about that movie that I love the poster too. Like I just thought that they did good job with like those things, and it looks so good as well. Like I'm really happy with how that turned out. Ryan Petey was the DP on that one. Who was that? Heather Coots was the production designer on that one. We had a really, really good team, and that one was also a really, really fun one. So I think there's just like certain projects that I kind of like you hang on to a little bit just because there's something special about them. But I mean, I have written and directed stuff in as well that are have a whole other meaning because wrote them and directed them, and so I feel like they're very much a representation of my sense of like they're closer to sort of like that, like some of my sensibilities that I and some things that I like tonally, and that darker kind of humor, that a little bit more edge to it, maybe more indie, maybe not so sort of streamlined, I guess. And then I was in a friend's film, and it was a short, it was about 20 minutes long. And well, she became a friend. I met her through doing the movie. And that was an acting project. There was no comedy in it, and I really enjoyed it. That one was called Francis, actually. That was Darcy who directed it. So there's like products I like for certain reasons, I guess. I don't know if that answers that question. Sorry.
Yeah. I also really enjoyed that movie, A Deal with the Lift. It was like literally one of my favorite movies from last year. I like the
Oh,
story, the connection. It was just funny, cute, sweet, and how they both help each other overcome him being a spoiled brat over a millionaire company and her trying to accomplish her life goals to make something out of herself. So that movie was just so cute. And the movie poster, I was like, this has to be one of the good movies. I mean, Avery Roderick and Kate Winslet was the best.
yeah, they're so good. Yeah, that poster, when I saw that poster, I was like, good job. Whoever did that poster, I don't know who, but really good job on that poster. I like that it has an old school element to it or something.
Yeah. Like some of the Christmas movies on the countdown to Christmas movies for myself, like people don't judge the book by the cover, but you never know if the book is good or bad. And some of the movie posters, I mean, why did they go with that poster? It was such a good movie. Why would they go for that poster? Like there was
Yeah.
one poster this year, I think it was Christmas and Cars. I'm not, oh, that seemed like a cute movie. Okay, let's see how that goes. After I watched it, I was like, wow, that scratch that poster, that movie, that storyline, the cat, and the true meaning of frontline worker, the EMT, the nurse, the police, you name it, what they go through every day, especially over the holidays, anytime during the holidays, give or take.
Yeah. I know. I wonder, yeah, some posters you just love more than others. I also really like the Jingle Bell Run poster. I thought they did a good job with that, the
Yeah,
running. But yeah, yeah. Yeah, sometimes you can judge a book by movie by its poster, and sometimes you're right, it's the opposite. So sometimes you see a poster and it's amazing, and then you see the
yeah,
movie.
sometimes I take posters or I take books. I was like, So I've learned how to read a book and not judge it by the book cover or how pretty or how plain it is. I'm a huge reader, so I always go out there. This was a really good book, but the looks of it, don't worry about it. Or the movie, some of the posters are great, but the movie's good. And some of the
Yeah,
posters are like simple and sweet. And the movie turned out to be one of the hit movies of Christmas. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
I know.
Lucie,
It's also like wine,
yeah,
wine
definitely.
labels. Whenever I buy gifts for people, I don't not a big drinker of wine personally, but if I'm buying gifts, I always look at the wine. I say, I'm sorry if this wine is bad. I just like the label. I hope it's good.
Right, same. I'm not, it's a pretty bottle. And then you
Yes,
drink it and
pretty
you're like,
bottle.
oh, no,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, Lucy, I wanted to appreciate you for coming on to the Cast Chat podcast, sharing your experience and all of the career aspects as an actress and a director, especially for one of the most amazing hit movies of this Christmas 2024, which was The Santa Claus.
Thank you so much for having me.
I I hope you have a great the rest of the holidays and a happy new year for 2025. And I cannot wait to see you see what you bring brought to the TV screen of 2025.
Thanks so much for having me on. It was so lovely to chat with you. I really appreciate you reaching out, and I'm so glad that you liked the Santa Claus.
Yeah, definitely. One of the hit movies out of many other movies. So I appreciate that. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye. Nice